The small coastal town of Alaris had lived through countless storms. Winds came and went, tides rose and fell, but one storm in particular left scars deeper than shattered roofs or broken boats. It was the night when young Daniel lost his father, a fisherman who never returned from the sea. At 13, Daniel stood barefoot on the rocks, gripping a flickering lantern as the search boats combed the waves. All night he prayed, all night he whispered, "Please let him come back." But dawn brought silence and a heart full of grief. From that day forward, Daniel carried his father's lantern. To him, it wasn't just a light, it was a promise. His father used to say, "As long as you carry a light, you'll never be lost, no matter how dark it gets." Years passed, and while his friends dreamed of leaving the town, Daniel stayed. He worked odd jobs, hauling nets, repairing sails, mending engines. He often wondered if life had cheated him, if destiny had handed him nothing but loss. But every evening, Daniel lit the lantern on the pier. One day, he told himself, "This light will guide someone home." One autumn, Alaris faced the fiercest storm in decades. Waves taller than houses pounded the shore. Boats that hadn't been secured were swallowed whole. The townsfolk barred windows and prayed. But out on the water, a group of young sailors was trapped, their vessel battered, their cries unheard beneath the roar of thunder. News spread quickly, "They're lost. No one can survive in that sea." Daniel's chest tightened. He remembered the night he lost his father. He remembered the helplessness. And suddenly he realized, if no one went out, those boys would share the same fate. He rushed to the old pier, gripping his father's lantern. The storm clawed at him, rain stinging his skin, wind nearly tearing the light from his hand. But Daniel kept moving. He untied a small rescue boat and shoved it into the waves. "Are you mad?" a villager shouted. "You'll die out there." Daniel's answer was simple, "Then I'll die trying." The sea raged like a living beast, but Daniel rowed with every ounce of strength. His muscles screamed, his throat burned with salt water, yet the lantern stayed alight, its glow a trembling star against the black storm. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes, time dissolved into struggle. Finally, through sheets of rain, Daniel spotted the crippled vessel. The young sailors clung to the deck, eyes wide with terror. "Here!" Daniel roared above the storm. He held the lantern high, its flame dancing defiantly. "Follow the light." With his help, they transferred into the rescue boat. The weight nearly sank them, but together they rowed, driven by the small circle of light that refused to die. When at last the pier emerged from the darkness, the townsfolk rushed forward, pulling the survivors to safety. Exhausted, Daniel collapsed on the wet planks. The lantern rolled beside him, still glowing. A villager picked it up and whispered, "That little light saved them." From that night onward, Daniel was no longer the boy who lost his father. He became the man who carried the light. People came to see him not as unlucky, but as unbreakable. Years later, Alaris built a lighthouse where the pier once stood. But at its heart, in a glass case, they placed Daniel's lantern. Schoolchildren would gather around as teachers told the story. When storms rage and the night feels endless, remember Daniel. He showed us that one person's courage can light the way for many. The world is full of darkness, but even the smallest flame can guide someone home. The lesson. Daniel's story reminds us that pain can either break us or build us. He could have surrendered to grief, living in the shadow of what he lost. Instead, he chose to carry a light, not just for himself, but for others. Life is filled with storms, failures, heartbreaks, rejections, losses. In those moments, it is tempting to believe we are powerless. But just as Daniel discovered, we always have a lantern within us: hope, kindness, resilience. Even if it seems small, even if it flickers in the wind, it has the power to guide, to inspire, and to save. So when the storm rages around you, hold up your lantern. Someone out there may be searching for it. And perhaps, in the act of guiding them, you'll find your own way home.